Good evening. Wish to welcome all of you to this third session of the Plymouth Fall Town Meeting. It's being held live at Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018 at 6 p.m. We are at Plymouth North High School, located on Street in Plymouth, and Town Clerk Lawrence Pizer has advised me that we now have a quorum of at least 90 elected town meeting members, and I therefore declare that a quorum being present, the Plymouth Fall Town Meeting will come to order at 6 p.m. This evening, Nicole Manfredi will once again serve as Assistant Town Moderator. Ken Tavares is here as Chair of the Board of Selectmen. And we welcome Mark Rich of Copeman and Page, who will serve as Town Council throughout today's session of Town Meeting. Welcome, Mr. Rich. Harry Salerno is here as the Chair of the Advisory Finance Committee. And again, you are reminded that our general laws prohibit the use of tobacco products in the school buildings. Keith Larson is the police officer on duty. There are written materials at the sign-in table. Last night and this evening, there was a copy of this sheet entitled New Motions Voted by Advisory and Finance, specifically relating to Articles 16 and 26. If you did not get a copy of the motion, I believe there are still copies up at the sign-in table. I'd like to remind you to get that for your records. The town charter provides that the town clerk keeps the record of attendance, and pursuant to the town charter, a representative town meeting member who cannot attend a session shall provide written notice to the clerk. Anyone wishing to inquire as to reasons given for absence should check with the clerk. Also, again, pursuant to Chapter 2, Section 10, Subsection 2, representative town meeting members shall notify the town clerk in writing prior to the town meeting session as to any articles giving rise to a financial conflict of interest. Again, a reminder this evening that we'll be utilizing the electronic voting system. You'll have 20 seconds to vote, and you can begin voting when the green light is on. I want to remind people that you should not be approaching the vendor who is here for electronic voting. Rather, if you have an issue, you either stand and get recognized with a point of order, or you can communicate to one of the tellers, and they can in turn communicate to us if you do not want to interrupt the debate for the meeting. I do not receive any procedural motions. I did receive a motion to amend, which you'll be hearing. I would like to draw to your attention that a quorum is presumed. We will recess either within 2 hours, or we may have a motion to adjourn within 2 hours and return tomorrow evening. That will be up to town meeting. I'd like to thank the Plymouth Schools Music Association for providing refreshments this evening. They are in the cafeteria. There are refreshments now available, and they were here last night. I also want to make reference to procedural motions. Today, a town meeting member contacted me and was concerned that he might not be here at 6 o'clock. And he asked that if I received any procedural motions, particularly motions to reconsider, that I would hold it to 7 o'clock. And I told him no. And I further called him to explain the reason, and I'd like to just reiterate that for town meeting. I will always give procedural motions priority over anyone who wants to speak and argue on a substantive motion, because I believe it's the right of town meeting to decide whether they want to close debate, whether they want to reconsider, whether they want to change the order. These are choices that you can make as a town meeting. In a situation like the one requested this morning, I suggested that if you cannot be here on time, then either you communicate to another town meeting member to express your concern about your lack of attendance, but I also want to remind town meeting members that the reason I'm not going to wait for anybody is because I think that when we all run for office, we know when town meeting is scheduled in the fall and the spring. We know there could be adjourned sessions. And we also know that the time could be changed, and this is not the first time that town meeting has had an adjourned session begin at 6 p.m. So For all those reasons, I would just like town meeting to be on notice that at any time, it's possible to change the time, to change the order, to reconsider, and it'll be up to you as to what procedure you'd like to follow. But I will give procedures priority. And at this time, we're going to continue where we left off last night, which is Article 9E. Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to appropriate $380,000 from the Community Preservation Reserved for Historic Resources Fund for the restoration, rehabilitation, and preservation of the historic 1749 courthouse located in Town Square, including but not limited to preservation of the post and beam construction, under the roof, upgrades to utilities in compliance with current building codes, and installation of historically appropriate roofing materials. It's a majority and a roll call. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 12-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 9E. Approval of the article would authorize $380,000 of community preservation funds for the restoration of the roof, gutters, downspout, windows, and doors to the 1749 courthouse to make the exterior weather-tight. An additional request to authorize the Board of Selectmen to establish a revolving fund for future maintenance and capital improvements is being requested. The committee supports the need to preserve this historic courthouse.
William Cohan, Chair, Community Preservation Committee.
Procedural motion, Mr. Moderator.
And what is that procedural motion?
I move the question, Mr. Moderator.
Motion to close debate. It is not debatable. Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? If so, if you could stand to be recognized. Thank you. We'll now call for a vote. It will first be a voice vote on Article 9E. All those in favor of closing debate say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. We'll do it electronically. It'll be our first electronic vote of this evening. Because it requires a 2/3 vote, I will have it electronically. When the green light goes on, you will be voting as to whether close debate on Article 9E. When the green light goes on, and it is on now, you are now voting. You have 20 seconds. We have a display that shows the time the town meeting members have to vote. In the lower left-hand corner, we show the number of town meeting members who are voting. There are 135 elected town meeting members. This electronic vote is coming early in the meeting. You'll be able to have a record as to who arrived. Voting has been completed. We have 52 voting in favor. We have 38 in opposition. We have 1 abstention. The motion does not carry. We will continue, and as the votes are scrolled, I'd ask Mr. Cohan to come back up and begin the presentation under Article 9E. Another procedural question? Richard Cirque, Precinct 3, what is your vote? No. Richard Cirque voted no, which means there are 39 in opposition. Leonard Vaz, Precinct 1, it looks like we have a lot of people, so this is a good opportunity to correct things. Leonard Vaz votes no. Precinct 1, yes? And Virginia, what is your precinct? Virginia Johnson, Precinct 7, votes no. It's kind of dark back there. I may have to have you come forward so you can be recognized. And it looks like we're having Alan Costello, Precinct 10. And what is your vote?
I was a yes vote, Alan Costello, Precinct 10.
A yes for Alan Costello in Precinct 10. Yes, please identify yourself.
Colleen Coughlin, Precinct 6.
Holly.
It says received yes, but it didn't show. So.
Okay, Precinct 6, and you're a yes?
Yes.
Thank you, Holly. Next.
Paul Cunningham, Precinct 8, should be a yes.
Paul Cunningham, Precinct 8 is a yes. Betsy Hall.
No.
Betsy Hall, what precinct?
12.
12 is a no.
No.
And continuing on, John DeCoste.
John DeCoste, Precinct 15.
15.
Yes.
A yes. And continuing on.
Joan Bartlett, 5, no.
From Precinct 5. Excuse me, Larry, you have her. What? let us finish with those people who are trying to identify their vote. Kenneth Howe?
Phone don't work at all.
Kenneth Howe, please speak into the microphone. Kenneth Howe, what is your vote?
No.
It's a no. Okay, and again, everybody, we need to turn on your handsets. Brendan Brady?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Brendan Brady, Precinct 10. I voted in the affirmative, move to reconsider, considering how many issues we had with the vote.
Okay, so let me complete the vote. No, he said he voted in favor. Again, Brendan, you voted no, is that correct? Brendan Brady, you voted on the prevailing side, you voted no? Okay, you cannot move to reconsider. Thank you. And William Cohan, your vote, and what is it? Your vote was a no. Is there anyone else whose vote did not get recorded? Everett Malaguti? We have a sound check for the microphone. Everett Malaguti is Precinct 1.
Everett Malaguti, Precinct 1. I voted in the affirmative, I voted no, and I'd like to make a motion to reconsider.
All right, so Everett Malaguti voted no, so you voted on the prevailing side, and he moves to reconsider. No, he didn't change his vote, but he did vote on the prevailing side. I'd like to move to reconsider. So the final corrected vote, 56 having voted in favor, 45 in opposition, 1 abstention. The motion to close debate did not carry. Now, Mr. Malaguti moved to reconsider the motion to close debate. Would anyone like to be heard on whether we should vote to reconsider? If not, I will first take a voice vote on whether to reconsider that motion to close debate. And I'll now call for a voice vote on whether to reconsider. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. No. I think it's a no, but we'll practice with our electronic voting. So you are voting on whether to reconsider the motion to close debate. When the green light goes on, you will vote on whether to reconsider. It'll be an opportunity for all of you to have your handsets on. Vote now. The green light is on. You're voting on whether to reconsider a motion to close debate under Article 9E. And we have 10 seconds remaining. We have town meeting members voting. No, I read this. I did not. I read this. You'll now see that the vote is 60 in favor, 46 in opposition, 1 abstention. The motion carries, does not carry. To reconsider, that does carry, yes. Reconsider, it's a majority vote. So now, if you want to reconsider, we can hear any arguments on whether to reconsider the closing the motion to close debate, and I'm going to now have a vote on that because the majority vote on reconsidering passes because that's a majority, 60 in favor, 46 in opposition, 1 abstention. And we don't debate motions to close debate. So once again, you are now going to be voting on whether to close debate under Article 9E. And when the green light goes on, you'll be voting on whether to close debate. It requires a 2/3 vote. When the green light goes on, you can now vote on whether to close debate under Article 9E. And now you can vote. Vote on whether to close debate on Article 9E. Town meeting members are voting. We have 15 seconds remaining. We are going down. We are coming to you live from Plymouth North High School on October 23rd. We are in the 3rd session of the fall annual town meeting. We have 107 town meeting members who have voted on whether to close debate. 57 say yes, 50 say no. It fails because it requires 2/3. William Cohan, Chair of the Community Preservation Committee, will now present as we scroll through the precincts. You can check to make sure that your vote was correctly recorded. We are completing the precincts. We're now through precinct 12, and we will finalize with the final 3 precincts, and they are now shown. Anyone not recorded, if we could ask again to have them displayed on the screen. They are displayed on my terminal. They are now being displayed on the screen one more time. And this is Plymouth Town Meeting. It is coming to you live from Plymouth North High School on Tuesday, October 23rd. We convened at 6 p.m. and we are returning to where we left off last night with Article 9E. We are now completed going through, and Mr. Cohen, please continue.
Bill Cohen with the Community Preservation Committee. The Community Preservation Committee is making a recommendation on Article 9E for $380,000 to be utilized for the restoration, preservation, and rehabilitation of the facade, roof, downspouts, gutters, and windows and doors to the 1749 courthouse. 1749 courthouse does have a long history. It is the oldest municipal building in the country. Some of its materials date back to the 1650s. When the building was initially, the first building on the site was in 1636. There was a Thomas Willett and his wife, Mary Brown. They built a house at this location. And in 1680, there were additions to it. In 1721, there was further additions to it when it became a public meeting space in courthouse. Finally, in 1749, it was renovated into the building that we know today. It was slated for demolition back in the mid-60s. There were residents here in Plymouth that saved the building. And you can see here, right now it's a town museum. It has nearly 10,000 visitors a year. We're proposing to renovate the exterior. The town of Plymouth town meeting has already authorized $118,000 for upgrades to its heating and electrical systems so that it's better cooled. The town of Plymouth has recently hired a town archivist who's going through documents the town has that could be displayed at this location. Right now, we couldn't display them at this location because of the condition of the heating and cooling systems and the windows, doors, and roof. So here's some of the artifacts that you'll find in the 1749 courthouse. And that concludes our presentation on Article 9E. There will be no presentation on Article 9F. The Finance Department...
Mr. Cohen, we're not going forward beyond 9E. Thank you. Further discussion on 9E. Michael Babini.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. A question, Mr. Cohen. Could you tell me, Bill, what categories of the CPA budget is this coming out of?
This is coming out of historic.
There's not enough money in the historic budget for it, is there?
Yes, there is.
Well, there's $565,000 in the historic budget. $500,000 was used for the Pilgrim Church. How do we get $380,000 more? I don't follow that.
We have a question from Michael Babini and Lynn Barrett responding, Director of Finance. Welcome, Lynn Barrett.
In Article 9D, we took $500,000 from the CPA fiscal 19 budgeted reserve. So there's plenty of money in there for, we only took 100.
I thought the 500 in the...
Speak into the microphone, Mr.
I'm sorry.
Babini.
It was broken out under the church that $500,000 would come from CPA historic funds and $128,000 from reserve funds.
No, in the motion that's in this
that's what I saw.
handout, the motion packet, it's $500,000 from budgeted reserve and $128,000 from historic resources.
Okay, it must have been recorded.
Further discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. It'll first be a voice vote on 9E. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. It is not unanimous. We'll do a vote electronically on 9E. When the green light goes on, please vote. We're voting on 9E. When the green light goes on, town meeting members will vote. We'll vote electronically. Vote now. This is a roll call vote, which we're taking electronically. This is town meeting coming to you live on Tuesday, October 23rd. We are at Plymouth North High School. Town meeting members have 10 seconds. We have over 109 town meeting members who have already voted. They are voting on the main motion under Article 9E. We will now have a display of the manner in which town meeting members have voted, beginning with precincts 1, 2, and 3. A green is yes, a red is no, a yellow is abstention. 104 having voted in favor, 5 in opposition, 0 abstentions. The motion carries. We will continue until the screen goes through. It looks like there is a town meeting member whose vote may have not been recorded. No, that's not the question. Is your vote recorded? No. And what is your name? Okay, Holly, maybe we'll check your handset. Yours is a yes, which means 105 voting yes, 5 noes, 0 abstentions. And we've gone through precincts 13, 14, and 15, so unless there are any other points of order regarding the voting, we're going to continue to 9F. Mr. Salerno moves that the town vote to amend the vote taken under Article 16D of the Spring 2018 Annual Town Meeting by reducing the amount appropriated for CPA debt service budget, and you have the numbers in your packet. Mr. Salerno.
In a vote of 11-01, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 9F. Approval of this article will amend Article 16D of the Spring 2018 Annual Town Meeting by reducing the debt service budget of $94,276 by $24,642 to $69,634. The Director of Finance has recommended this action.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. We now move to Article 10. Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to appropriate $200,000 from free cash to reconstruct Forges Field playground surface in accordance with state and federal accessibility requirements. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 12-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 10. Approval of this article would authorize $200,000 for the Parks Department to reconstruct the playground surface at Forges Field only and bring the surface into accord with state and federal accessibility requirements.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. I will ask those voting negative to stand to be recognized. And what is your name? Gideon Stryer is a no. Yes? Do you have that? And thank you, Peter Neville. Precinct 10. 3 voting no. It carries by a majority vote. Article 11, Mr. Salerno moves that $200,000 is appropriated for repair, replacement, and/or upgrade of septic systems pursuant to agreements between the Board of Health and residential property owners. You have the text. This is a 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 11-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 11. Approval of this article will allow the town to borrow $200,000 through the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust to fund the Title V Betterment Loan Program.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 12, Mr. Salerno moves that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $990,930.31 to the Pavement Management Plan Debt Stabilization Fund. It's a majority vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a vote of 7-5-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 12. Approval of this article will transfer $990,930.31 from free cash into the Pavement Management Debt Stabilization Fund. This amount reflects the amount of the excess fiscal year 2018 motor vehicle excise tax over the amount that was budgeted. This stabilization fund was established at the 2017 spring special town meeting to fund costs associated with improving roads. This is the same formula that has been utilized since its inception. Those opposed felt that a larger sum of money should be added to this account. Those in favor felt it was prudent to stick with the formula presented to town meeting when the fund was established. All agreed the roads need funding for pavement management.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 13, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to amend the general bylaws, Chapter 143, Departmental Revolving Funds. And you have the text here, and it's a majority vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 13-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 13. Approval of this article will rescind the bylaw covering school custodial details, thereby eliminating the fund and transfer any remaining balance to a revolving fund. As this is as a result of a legislative revision to Chapter 71, the school committee voted this spring to establish the revolving fund under 71E.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 14, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to transfer the care, custody, management, control of the Oak Street School property. You have the text. It's a 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a vote of 11-2-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 14. Approval of this article will transfer the care, custody, management, and control of the Oak Street School property from the school committee to the Board of Selectmen for the purpose of conveyance and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell or lease the property as deemed in the best interest of the town.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 15, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of the school administration building property. You have the text. It's a 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a vote of 11-2-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 15. Approval of this article will transfer the care, custody, management, and control of the school administration building from the school committee to the Board of Selectmen for the purpose of conveyance and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell or lease the property as deemed in the best interest of the town.
Further discussion? Hearing none, call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. We are now moving to Article 16. I draw to your attention that under Article 16, you have the handout with the new language for Article 16. And then in addition, I have a motion to amend, which we will take up after we hear from Mr. Salerno on the main motion. Mr. Salerno moves that the town vote to amend the general bylaws, Chapter 149, sewers, as found on page 289 of the report and recommendations of the Advisory and Finance Committee, Fall Town Meeting 2018, with the proposed words, or in the future may be located, deleted from the introductory sentence thereof, and the words as identified on a plan on file with the town clerk entitled Sewer Collection Area, prepared by the Town of Plymouth Engineering Division, dated March 20, 2018, be inserted such that the introductory sentence reads as follows. Owners of all properties used for human occupancy, employment, recreation, or other purposes within an area of the town in which there is now located a common sewer as identified on a plan on file with the town clerk entitled Sewer Collection Area, prepared by the Town of Plymouth Engineering Division, dated March 20, 2018, provided that said common sewer is within 100 feet of the street front property line, is hereby required at his, her expense, if there exists sufficient capacity within the town's sewer system to connect said building by sufficient drain to the common sewer as follows. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 14-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve this article. This will help increase the number of users in the sewer district, which will in turn generate more revenues for the system. This article was reconsidered at the committee's meeting Saturday morning, and language was added that removed the statute's applicability to future sewer systems.
Thank you. Mr. Gorsuch, Precinct 13, moves to amend Article 16 to add language after dated March 20, 2018 to include or as may be amended. Daniel Gorsuch, on your motion to amend, do you care to be heard? We are debating Article 16 on the warrant of Plymouth's annual town meeting, and Daniel Gorsuch has made a motion to amend.
Dan Gorsuch, Precinct 13. My intent here is in the future, I don't want to limit us to a plan dated on a specific date and time. I'm sure the DPW and Engineering Department will be doing more sewer in town, and I think it's just imperative to allow the ability to someone doing new construction later on, if sewer moves somewhere past that March plan, that we still hold them to the same requirements now that we're holding them, new people to, if we approve this. So I just don't want us to be relying on the bylaw to come propose the change in article again to update a new plan. And I just want to leave us the flexibility to keep that plan open-ended. Thank you.
Further discussion on the motion to amend or the main motion when we close debate. We'll first be voting on the motion to amend. Brendan Brady.
Brendan Brady, Precinct 10. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I actually wholeheartedly agree with Dan. We just authorized funding for a watershed study last night in a section of town that does not have a sewer currently. So if that study determines that we need a sewer there, we've now tied our hands on requiring users to tie in. And we also just learned that if we don't use a sewer system, it may fail. So if we have no users using a future system, we're going to be paying the burden of it without requiring ratepayers on that new system.
And we're continuing the debate. Michael Landers. Michael Landers on the Article 16.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from the legal counsel as to whether or not this is necessary, or if the First Amendment will actually cover this.
No, I can tell you that I've reviewed the motion.
Yes.
And it is allowed.
Okay.
Thank you. John Hammond.
Well, I just want to make sure that I understand. First, we have the Advisory and Finance Committee changing the language to take the future out of it. Now people want to put it back. I'd like to hear why you took it out.
Harry Slerner, do you care to respond?
The motion had been presented to us, and we debated it, and the question was, each sewer system, if a new sewer system was placed in service, then the terms and conditions of that sewer system would be determined at that time. And that seemed a sensible amendment to what can be a rather controversial issue.
Further discussion, Daniel Gorsuch.
So when you say determined at that time, there's nothing in that language right now that says that. That tells me if we put a date on the plan, that anything I do after, if the sewer plan's not updated, then if I want Title V, I'll do Title V.
Marlene McCollum, Assistant Town Manager. Thank you.
As I explained, when I requested the reconsideration from the Advisory and Finance Committee, and when I explained it to them, what I said was, if and when the town meeting decides to expand the system, at that point in time, you can amend the map as the town meeting to apply the bylaw to that part, to that extension part.
Okay.
Further discussion. We're debating first. We'll vote on the motion to amend. Then we'll vote on the main motion. Further discussion. Hearing none, I will first take a voice vote on the motion to amend, which is to add language after dated March 20, 2018 to include, quote, or as may be amended, quote. That is the motion to amend. I now will call for a voice vote. It's a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. No. Motion carries. We will now have the main motion as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will first call for a voice vote. It's a majority vote and a roll call if it's not unanimous. On Article 16, the voice vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. I think I heard a no. So I'm going to declare that it passes, and those in opposition, please stand. Peter Neville is a no.
Point of order.
Yes.
I'd like you to repeat what that vote was. That was unclear to me.
After I take this vote, then I'll repeat it. So again, Peter Neville, are you a no? Yes. Are there any other no's? And what is your name? Wayne Gerhard. And she's a no. So and Everett Malaguti? No, we have 3 no's, and we have a majority vote. Now, again, the question was on what did we vote, and we just voted the main motion under Article 16 as amended. So it is the written text that you received last night or tonight, which is in this one-page handout, along with the words, or as may be amended, following the words dated March 20, 2018. And the vote has been completed. I will now move in the warrant. Article 17 is withdrawn. We then move to Article 18. Mr. Salerno moves that the town vote to the general bylaws, Chapter 100, Junk Dealers and Collectors, as found on page 294 to 296 of the report and recommendations of the Advisory and Finance Committee, Fall Town Meeting 2018. Majority vote, roll call if it's not unanimous. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 12-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 18. Approval to amend the general bylaw, Chapter 100, Junk Dealers and Collectors, will add new language providing for electronically transmitted transactions and to require more detail for jewelry transactions. The police department has contracted with Lead Online, a national network of law enforcement agencies and reporting businesses. The system provides statewide and nationwide search capabilities, as well as suspect summary reports. Many shopkeepers already use this online service for reporting their transactions. This will be a superior investigative tool for detectives.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 19. Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to accept Mass General Laws, Chapter 200A, Section 9A, Disposition of Abandoned Funds. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 13-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 19. Approval of this article will record the official acceptance of Mass General Law, Chapter 200A, 9A, disposition by town meeting and will codify the current practice.
Further discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. It'll be a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 20, we have already voted. Article 21 is withdrawn. Article 22, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to insert the language in any residential district to the zoning bylaw section 207.11, ground-mounted solar photovoltaic, as found on page 307 of the report and recommendations of the Advisory and Finance Committee, Fall Town Meeting 2018. It's a 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 11-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 22. Approval of this article will add the language in any residential district to the zoning bylaw, Section 207.11, ground-mounted solar photovoltaic, previously approved the April 2017 annual town meeting, but omitted from the written bylaw.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. We now move to Article 23. Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to amend the zoning bylaw, Section 201.3 definitions, the use table and the use table footnotes to allow dog kennels by special permit in the rural residential district and by right in the light industrial, airport, highway commercial, and mixed commerce districts, as well as amend any other definitions, procedures, and provisions for said installations as found on pages 311 to 313 of the report and recommendations of the Advisory and Finance Committee, Fall Town Meeting 2018. It's a 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 11-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends to approve Article 23. Approval of this zoning amendment will define commercial dog kennels and renew commercial kennels to approved locations.
Further discussion on Article 23? Unless there's further discussion, I will take a vote. It will be a voice vote. All those in favor of Article 23 say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Would the noes please stand and identify yourself? Leanna Patton. What precinct? 12. Yes. Joseph Triscilli, precinct 11. Frank O'Brien, precinct 11. Thank you. The motion carries by more than 2/3. We now move on in the warrant. The next article, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to amend its zoning bylaw, section 06-1, Aquifer Protection District, to revise the boundaries of the Aquifer Protection District, high-risk uses, and define allowed and special permit uses within that district as found on pages 317 to 333 of the report and recommendation of the Advisory and Finance Committee, Fall Town Meeting 2018, 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 11-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 24. Approval of this article will amend the zoning bylaw to revise the boundaries of the Aquifer Protection District, restrict high-risk uses, and define allowed and special permit uses within that district. The Advisory and Finance Committee felt that the protection of the public drinking water is a priority.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 25, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to amend the zoning bylaws by creating a new zoning district, Cedarville Village Enterprise District, that allows for a range of light industrial and commercial uses, and to amend the zoning bylaw and official zoning map number 1 to designate of all or a portion of the Hedges Pond Road corridor. And you have the text. It's a 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 11-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 25. Approval of this article will create a new zoning district, Cedarville Village Enterprise District, and rezone 50 acres of residential land and 24 acres of general commercial land to the new zoning district for light industrial and commercial uses.
Further discussion? Betsy Hall, Precinct 12, does not want to speak now. So we'll have further discussion. Hearing none, I'm going to call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 26. Again, yesterday and tonight you received a one-page handout with new text for Article 26, and it is as follows. Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of all or portions of lots 22B, 23, and 24 on Assessor's Map 55 from the Conservation Commission for open space conservation purposes or from the board or officer with custody of the land for the purposes for which it is currently held to the Board of Selectmen for general municipal purposes. And you have the entire text. It's a 2/3 vote. Mr. Salerno.
This is a bit of a long one.
Article 26.
Saturday morning, the Advisory and Finance Committee voted to reconsider Article 26, and in a unanimous vote of 14-0-0, recommends town meeting approve this article with amended language, the amended language being supported by the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board, which establishes a temporary advisory committee whose purpose is to advise the selectmen of the impact of any sale of property associated with this article and work to mitigate current situations that exist which is causing accidents and fatalities in the area. The temporary advisory committee will be made up of one town meeting member from each of precincts 8 and 14, a member of the Cedarville Steering Committee, a member of the Planning Board, and a person from the Board of Selectmen. 5 in total. The advisory committee is to be dissolved upon completion of the sale of the property. Approval of this article, originally unanimously recommended 11-0-0, will transfer the control of the rezoned land from Article 25 to the Board of Selectmen to sell or transfer under such terms and conditions as they deem appropriate. The terms of the transfer require they execute a development plan detailing how the development will proceed.
Further discussion? Hearing none, call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 27, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to transfer care, custody, management, and control of the parcels shown in the chart listed below as on file with the town clerk from the town treasurer for tax title purposes or from the Board of Selectmen for general municipal purposes to the Conservation Commission for conservation purposes. You have the text, the list. It's a two-thirds vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a vote of 10-1-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 27. Approval of this article will transfer control of 135 acres of tax title land to the Conservation Commission for protection as conservation land and to mitigate the impacts on nearby residential neighborhoods by creating open space.
Further discussion? Hearing none, call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. No. The motion carries by two-thirds. Article 28. Article 28, Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to accept a permanent easement on a structure, a water tank, and associated land area located at 7 River One Way, shown on Assessor's Map 114 as parcel 7-1. You have the text. It's a majority vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 11-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 28. This article will accept a permanent easement for the public safety transmitter to remain on the water tank as long as necessary. The transmitter provides improved public safety communication coverage in the vicinity of Plymouth South Elementary School and is an important communications infrastructure.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 29. Mr. Salerno moves the town vote to transfer the care, custody, management, control of the parcels listed below as on file with the town clerk. You have the entire text for 29, and it's a two-thirds vote. Mr. Salerno.
In a unanimous vote of 13-0-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting approve Article 29. This article conveys control of a 5.7-acre tax title property off Dinah Path to the Herring Pond Wampanoag Tribal Council, Inc., to protect and preserve this ancestral burial ground. They welcome the public to continue to access the existing trail systems, and the town will reserve easement rights for drainage.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Article 30, I have no motion. Hearing no motion, I declare no action. Article 31, I have no motion. Hearing no motion, I declare no action. Article 32, I have no motion. I declare no action. Article 33, I have no motion. I declare no action. Article 34, Richard Neely, Precinct 15, moves the town vote to amend Plymouth zoning bylaws according to the following proposed bylaw to add a workforce housing district for the purpose of providing working-class residents with affordable housing. Mr. Neely, do you care to be heard on your motion?
Richard Neely, Precinct 15. I was heartened that this body finally moved forward on affordable housing. But there is another problem that becomes one where members of the workforce are making too much to qualify for affordable housing, but not enough to move into the upper part of the housing market. This article is an attempt to focus on the need for reasonable housing for workforce in Plymouth. Thank you.
Thank you. Anatole Zuckerman, petitioner. This will be the petitioner's presentation under Article 34. We are here at Plymouth North High School. This is the fall annual town meeting coming to you live. Mr. Zuckerman, welcome.
Good evening. The purpose of this petition is to create an overlay zone for moderately priced housing combined with a localized employment, shopping, entertainment, and environmentally healthy habitat. The incentive for this petition is several recently passed Massachusetts bills designed to achieve that goal. One of these bills is, quote, an act financing the production and preservation of housing for low and moderate income residents, allocated $1.8 billion for the purpose, was signed by the Government Baker on May 31st, 2018. Plymouth was included as a recipient of this grant among 69 municipalities of Massachusetts. 55% of Plymouth citizens cannot afford a house or a condo in this town. While developers keep building high-end housing for the wealthy, the working families are leaving for greener pastures and the school enrollment is diminishing. Obviously, Plymouth needs a comprehensive program to accommodate the rapidly growing population and retain the working class citizens. This petition is an attempt to create such a program by finding the most appropriate places for compact mixed-use developments, such as the 10-minute village that I presented to the Planning Board and the Board of Selectmen as a conceptual project. This petition went a long way. We interviewed the owners of the proposed land. We worked with the elected officials and community members who signed this petition. I hope that you have many questions to clarify this request, and I'm prepared to answer them. Even though the Planning Board and the Finance Committee decided not to support this petition at this time for procedural omissions in the language of the proposed bylaw, both committees expressed support for affordable housing for the working class. We're aware of a few errors in the formal language of the proposed bylaw, and we're prepared to correct them. But we're asking you to approve this article, or at least support the concept of this proposal to encourage developers to build affordable housing for the low and middle class. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the petitioner presentation. Harry Salerno, Chair of the Advisory and Finance Committee, to be followed by Malcolm McGregor, Chair of the Planning Board.
In a unanimous vote of 0-14-0, the Advisory and Finance Committee recommends town meeting not approve this article. This bylaw, not having been presented to the committee in its usual deliberations, has not been reviewed by the committee in any depth. Mr. Hartman made it quite clear in his presentation to us that without this language and a careful vetting by the Planning Department and others, this article and proposal is ill-advised. The Planning Board unanimously opposed it for a host of sensible reasons. The proposal contains question marks, strike-throughs, and other matters that make no sense in a town law.
Malcolm McGregor is the Chair of the Plymouth Planning Board. We are debating Article 34. Welcome, Malcolm McGregor.
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to start before my presentation by thanking a good friend of mine who's done a large amount of work on this particular issue and many others. That's Mr. Ken Bukes. This petitioned article attempts to create a by right workforce housing overlay district near Cherry Street and Route 3 in Plymouth, Mass. The district will allow, by right, without any special permits, up to 675 dwelling units, 600,000 square feet of restaurant, retail, and industrial usage. The language proposed to the planning board at the public hearing was flawed and not what we usually see, and it could not be implemented too well. Furthermore, the planning board does not support this petitioned article for the following reasons. The language was flawed. It has numerous errors in it. It converts a large parcel of industrial commercial land, which is one of the last in Plymouth, into residential land. It was not reviewed by town council. It didn't address traffic. It didn't address sewer, and it didn't address water consumption issues. Thank you.
Kenneth Howe, Precinct 11. We are debating Article 34. Kenneth Howe has a procedural motion. Mr. Howe, on your motion.
I move the question. Ken Howe here.
Motion to close debate. It is not debatable. Anyone else who wants to be recognized to speak, you can stand. Thank you. I will first take a voice vote on whether to close debate. All those in favor of closing debate say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. No. The motion carries by 2/3. We will now take a vote on the main motion. It is a 2/3 vote and a roll call if it is not unanimous. I will first take a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. No. I think I heard a few ayes. So we'll take an electronic vote under Article 34. And once the light goes on, you'll be voting on the main motion under Article 34. And you can now vote. Town meeting members are voting on the main motion under Article 34. Following this vote, we have a motion to reconsider Article 23. Town meeting members are continuing to vote. We have 20 seconds in which to vote. We see that 109, 110 have already voted. The green light remains on as we wait for voting to conclude. This is electronic voting by Plymouth Town Meeting. We have 5 seconds left. Thereafter, we'll have a display. Please check to make sure that your vote is correctly recorded as we display the various precincts. We're going to begin with precincts 1, 2, and 3. They are shown before you. The reds are no, a green would be yes, and a yellow would be an abstention. We show that 2 people voted in favor, 108 voted in opposition, and we have 1 abstention. So the motion under Article 34 does not pass. Are there any questions on anyone's vote? If not, William Abbott moves to reconsider Article 23. Mr. Abbott, did you vote on the prevailing side? Yes, you did. Please come forward to state the reasons for your motion to reconsider. It is a majority vote. William Abbott, on your motion.
Article 23, this was the motion regarding the dog kennel. And
That
I
is
understand
correct.
the way the wording in the motion has an error in that it says it's allowed by special permit in the rural residential district. That was not the vote or desire of the planning board, so I think it should be reconsidered to see if we can straighten this out, correct it.
Thank you. Any further discussion on whether to reconsider Article 23? If not, I'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. No. The motion carries. We are now reconsidering Article 23. I believe we have a motion to amend the main motion, Article 23. And is that motion being made by Mr. Abbott? Mr. Abbott moves to amend the main motion, Article 3, by deleting the following language. On the 3rd line, after the word dog kennels, delete by special permit in the rural residential RR district and. So by deleting that, it's going to read to allow dog kennels by right in the light industrial. That is a motion to amend. It's a motion to delete language. On the motion to amend, Lee Hartman, Director of Planning and Development.
I apologize at the last minute for this. So in the motion, I did not catch the fact that the rural residential was still there. The Planning Board, the Advisory Finance Committee, Board of Selectmen all supported this article, only keeping those commercial kennels in the commercial areas of town, not the residential area. So again, I apologize for that error, but it's consistent with everything else in your book, your packet, how everybody else voted, just not in the motion itself.
Motion to amend is a majority vote. I will now call for a voice vote on whether to amend the main motion. All those in favor of the motion to amend say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. No. The motion to amend passes by a majority. Now we have a main motion as amended. It's a 2/3 vote and a roll call if it is not unanimous. I will first take a voice vote on Article 23. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. The motion carries unanimously. And at this time, I'd like to call up Kenneth Tavares to say a few words.
Good evening. This is the end of the meeting, and we certainly have gotten to know one another well, haven't we, in the last few days. I do want to thank everyone that has put this meeting together, especially the moderator, the assistant moderator, and the town clerk, to make sure that our records are kept properly. To the Finance Committee, thank you. This was a very detailed, difficult agenda to go through, and you have done it and done it well. Also, I'd like to thank Jeanette White. Jeanette just took over her new position, and of all times to do it when there were charter changes coming through. Jeanette, you did well. Thank you. The Charter Review Committee worked for the better part of a year. They did an outstanding job. This was not easy, and we appreciate their work, as well as that of the town manager and the department heads that have put in countless hours. And to you, town meeting members, thank you. There's been a great deal of discussion about what you do and how you do it, but you have discharged your responsibilities well. We appreciate it, and as we know in the town hall now, we're beginning really the new season as we begin to look at the budget and the work that's going to be put forth to you for the spring town meeting. Thank you all, and go Sox.
Harry Salerno.
I want to thank you all for your attention and your respect for the Advisory and Finance Committee's work. I hope it was helpful in your deliberations. What you see here today is merely the tip of the deliberating iceberg that goes into the recommendations of the Advisory and Finance Committee. You are all always welcome and needed to observe and comment at our meetings. I too want to thank, first I want to thank the committee for all their efforts. And of course, Jeanette White and the rest of the team in the Finance Department for their help, because it wouldn't happen without them. So I look forward to seeing you all at the next town meeting. Go Red Sox.
Thank you. And I would just like to also thank the people out front up here with me, Nicole Manfredi, Assistant Town Moderator, Lawrence Pizer, Town Clerk, and again, to echo the words of other people, I worked very closely with Jeanette White. She was supporting my work. It was fairly flawless. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Thanks to the town boards and committees and town meeting members for your hard work at this town meeting. Article 36, we have no motion. Hearing no motion, I declare no action. Harry Salerno moves to dissolve the fall town meeting. Discussion. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion carries. The fall annual town meeting is dissolved at 7:04 p.m. Thank you.